Hi, welcome to another Discovery Series video with SolarWinds. I'm head geek Leon Adato, and with me once again is Technical Content Manager for Community, Kevin Sparenberg.
Hello. And hello again.
Yes.
So, we've been talking about cloud quite a lot, and what makes monitoring cloud apps so much more difficult than any other type of app?
So it's not different, but I think one of the key things that happened is the paradigm shifted. I know.
Don't use words like that.
If
you know it gets my marketing
if I had 20 cents for every paradigm shift, I know.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is that when things were on-prem, virtualized not, it was mostly shrink-wrap software and what we affectionately call COTS, custom off-the-shelf. So it was something that was primarily known, not just known by the team or the department, but known by the entire IT community. There were forums dedicated to SharePoint or Blackbaud or I mean, name your software.
Yeah, and there were entire online communities helping you do that one tweak you wanted, and that's where the custom part comes in. And we've all dealt with that, but why is it so?
Well, now, so again, on-prem you had shrink wrap or customized apps, and then there was a small fraction of apps that were truly homegrown, totally customized.
Yeah, but they were such a small percentage normally.
Yes, but now with cloud, the entire thing I think has reversed. It's less about the SharePoint server in the sky.
Because they've gone to SaaS solutions.
Exactly. So you maintain that even less, and the customizations are significantly lower, but you still have, your focus is on these customizations. And actually, they're more important to the business because of, I'll use more marketing words, digital transformation, and all that stuff. That organizations are trying to leverage all the power that's there. And so now you've got to figure out a way to manage and monitor those. And this used to be that small, tiny niche market or niche area of IT. And now it's the whole story.
Yeah. And they all interlink with each other. They play with each other. There are multiple layers talking to each other. I mean, we both came up with here's the 3-tier model. This is how you do things when you have to highly distribute it. And that still applies, but has stretched so much because all of these systems interact with each other, exchange data constantly.
Right. The other thing is that, now that it's in the cloud, the team has become distributed. It's become distributed in its thinking, but it's also become distributed in its actual makeup of who is involved in things. So we all know about this app, that we is now a scattering of people across the organization, not just the team or the IT department, but the entire organization. You have input from multiple directions, usually multiple locations, multiple areas of the globe, etc. So keeping your arms around it from a management and monitoring standpoint becomes really tricky. And that's why tracing has become a much more important technique. Now, tracing used to be the purview of your devs and your QA department.
Yeah, I've set up stuff and set up tracing when I did my custom stuff, when I worked in college and did some web things. You do that, and it's great. But yeah, it was for QA and CS and
Right, because you could get most of the monitoring done with pull-based monitoring, some logging and stuff like that. And that takes us to the idea of known unknowns versus unknown unknowns.
Yeah, because for known unknowns, there's things I don't know. No, wait, that's the second one. So known unknowns is I need to figure out how to get this stuff, but I know I don't know where to get it.
I know it's going to break. I don't know when.
Yeah.
Right? Unknown unknowns is something's going to break, I don't know what it is, and I also don't know when. And
you also don't know how large it's going to be. It could be just something just flipping a bit and no problems, or it could be, a cascade failure.
Right, and because of that tracing, which is taking a look at the actual transactions as they move through the system, or a sampling of the actual transactions as they move through the system, is going to give you that identification of this is normal, this is normal, this is normal, beep. This is a unique black swan kind of event, but you may want to look at that. So that also, again, back to your original question, that monitoring is now the difference between that intimate knowledge of the application versus learning about the application as you go, as it's being used. And that's what tracing gives you.
As your end users, whether they're internal or external, as they're consuming with it, because maybe they're not using it the same way you thought it would be used either.
Right. Okay, so normally we try to stay fairly agnostic about, what tools or whatever. However, there's a free tool, and when we talk about free things, people deserve a little bit more specificity about it. So there's a free AppOptics index tool that you can download from SolarWinds.com. I think it's /free tools or something, but you can find it.
There's also one thwack under their free tools area.
Got it. Okay, so you can find those. You find it in a couple places. And what is this showing us?
Okay, so what we're looking at here is actually AppOptics, not the free version, the larger one, but it's basically the same functionality, same way we do with a lot of our free tools.
Right.
And what we have here is we're looking at various web tiers, various services for a hotel booking site.
Okay.
And the web tier is the one I want to concentrate on today because the web tier looks fine, but it doesn't. Like, it's getting 2 requests per second, which is nothing. But the response time is, this is in milliseconds, so 7.3 seconds.
Ooh.
And I know there's statistics out there, and other people quote me on them, but for every 1 second of latency on a web page, you lose X number of customers. This is the kind of thing you want to make sure you steer away from. So if we dig into the web tier, I'm actually we're going to skip this screen. I'm going to change this zoom, and then we'll come to this one. And we look over the last 6 hours here, we've got lots of various spikes up and down, and we can drill into specific areas and say, what happened at this time? Now, at this particular time slice, the booking service took 1.2 seconds, the application took 800 milliseconds, a couple remote calls, and the authentication service was fine. But understanding what's actually happening here and where the problems are is key. So for me, I want to look at the things that are causing the highest response time, and that right now is the host controller.show. Oh, no, it's not. It's the index. So if I look at the index, you see how it stacks up against the other services, how much the application versus remote calls, and then up here in the top, we have the traced requests. Now, I love this because you can see there's just this one outlier.
Look at that.
I love it when that works out. So if I actually just look at that one outlier, this is 5 hours ago, host controller index, it was a 302 error, and if I look at it in the trace, here's exactly what happened at that time for this full transaction. So this is how long it took in Rack, this is how long it took in Rails, this is how long it took doing the HTTP calls and the Java calls. And being able to actually pull this information in, and number one, use for troubleshooting, to know when things are slow, things are down, because slow is the new down. Know when things are slow, but also to be able to take this and say, you know what, developer XYZ, this looks like it was a problem in Rails. This looks like it was a problem in Rack, instead of there's a website problem.
Right, and letting them try to figure it out. And the other piece about tracing that I think is very well suited for cloud is that most organizations aren't single cloud, they're multi-cloud. And not to say that they have the same thing running in multiple clouds, but they're using the best pieces of each thing. So whether they're using GCP for this kind of processing and Azure for the back end and AWS for the infrastructure as a service or whatever it is, you can tell where things are happening even as it traverses the different sites.
Yeah.
That's a key piece to being able to get that, and that's why tracing has become so much further into the forefront of monitoring and management along the way.
And not to mention, you actually have the AppOptics tool basically doesn't care what your web server is, doesn't care what your application layer is, doesn't care it's IIS with .NET or it's PHP on Nginx or it's whatever else is out there. It doesn't care about all those. All it really cares is how do your end users interact with this, and behind the scenes, what's happening, so that if in the event there's a problem, you know where to spend your time fixing.
Right. Now, obviously, application tracing is a really big topic.
Yes.
I know that at SolarWinds we have white papers, ebooks, there's a Guerrilla guide to talk more about this. And I know that we're going to take a look at it a little bit more in other of this Discovery video series. However, this is a good start, and hopefully everyone will come back and hear more of what we have to say.
Yep. Thanks.